Do your whip shades come out smooth or do they come out streaky like this? In this video, I want to talk about why we may be accomplishing streaky looking whip shades. Should you have any questions at all, I encourage you drop a comment down below. I'll do my best to assist in the best possible direction. If you find this video helpful, consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing to my channel, as I would greatly appreciate your support. With that being said, let's get right on into this. Whip, stipple, pepper, whatever you want to call it, is one of those techniques, especially in the earlier days, that's difficult to not only understand the concept, but to master. This is going to absolutely take time, so you're going to have to be patient with the process. As I mentioned within the Fundamental Tattoo Handbook and the Art of Tattooing Lines, there's no way around the progress but through it, and that is going to apply to every single technique. Now, where I want to begin is I want to take a moment to understand the cause of the different results that we are getting between smooth and streaky whip, stipple, pepper shades, and then from there we're going to get into the technical application and figure out how we're going to go about resolving this issue. It's important to understand that the reasoning for the results that we accomplish is going to vary from artist to artist. So while you may have a specific issue, the artist next to you is going to be suffering from a different one. Now, some common reasonings behind streaky, stipple, whip, pepper shades is unaligned variables. And this is probably the most common one that we're going to be running into. But keep in mind, there are a multitude of variables that are working together. So we would have to pinpoint as the artist which variable we are weak on. For example, one artist may be stippling at 5 volts but moving their hand way too fast, so therefore they're getting inconsistent lines or inconsistent results, and they're not accomplishing smooth gradients, while another artist is running at 8 volts and moving too slow and accomplishing similar results, but probably with more saturation, and the shades are starting to look more like lines because the needle is moving faster and depositing more ink where the artist is moving. So in a nutshell, what this demonstrates is that the fundamental variables are unaligned somewhere, whether it's hand speed to voltage, whether it's needle depth, whether it's the outlook that we have on how shading is actually applied. So what this means is we as the artist have to make sure that we are aligning all of these fundamental variables in order for us to accomplish the results that we are going for. This specific result right here was done running at 7 volts, and the technique that I used was very much like lining. I would simply deposit the needle and go in more than I needed, and I really wasn't focused on the shape or the whip motion. We have to understand that the dots when applying whip shades have to be consistent and neighboring one another, which we are going to get into shortly, and I'm going to show you a close-up of that. When we aren't aligning these fundamental variables when it comes to stippling, these are the results that we are going to get. So you can see this right here is not aligning any fundamental variables, while this right here is, and you can see that it is a dramatic difference in read when we take a look at it. So if you're accomplishing results like this or similar, we're going to go ahead and get into how to fix that now. Let's start by demonstrating improper technique. When we are just starting out, it's probably more likely that we're gonna, employ bad techniques versus good techniques. So for example, I'm running at 7 volts. Let's just take it up to 8 to kind of exaggerate bad technique. So you can kind of hear that the machine is screaming, and we're using a very small needle. First of all, this is a red flag. I'm sure once we get seasoned, if we want to jump this high, we can, depending on the results that we are going for. However, when we're first starting out, this is what I do not recommend. I stuck with 5 volts for the majority of my stipple training, and it's worked out well. So staying at a lower voltage is better because the needle is going to make less rounds per second, causing less trauma. For the sake of this demonstration, we're going to go ahead though, and we're going to shade running at 8 volts to kind of get the point across. Now, a lot of improper practices will look like that. First and foremost, I have my voltage way too high and I'm not considerate of that. On top of that, I'm going to combine that variable with the variable of improper technique. Now, the main difference between streaky results and smooth results is the way that we look at it. If we're going to be depositing shading or whip, stipple, pepper shades in a manner that resembles lining, you can see that at the beginning of each deposit, we're getting a sort of line-like look, and that is going to take away from any smooth gradients that we are going for. And if I continue this process throughout, you can see this is going to begin to give us that streaky sort of appearance. Keep in mind, if our spacing is also inaccurate, for example, if it's like sparse and our lines are going in all crazy directions, this is how we start getting that ugly sort of sketch-like look. There's no sort of structure, there's no fundamental variables that we're following or anything like that, and you can see that the results that I am accomplishing are reflecting that. Now, although my dot spacing is good, but I think that's just from experience of me whipping so many times. However, in the earlier stages, it may not look that consistent. It's probably going to look something like this. And then here's where things get tricky, and this is where the patchiness and blotchiness starts to set in. If you go and you try to start patching up the areas that you missed, you're layering on top of the areas that were already deposited. So once these dots on a microscopic level start stacking, those areas where they stacked are becoming more saturated. This is exactly how we go south very, very fast when it comes to whip shades. On top of that, if I'm moving slower on some, faster on others, you can kind of see how my movements and my outlook on whip shading in general is enabling me to get these results right here, which are not what I am looking for. Taking a closer look at these results, you could see that by simply not aligning my voltage to my hand speed and not focusing on the concept of brushing the shades into gradients, all of those variables are unaligned, producing these results. So you are probably experiencing somewhere along the variables an unalignment. Once again, I cannot exhaust this enough that I do talk about this more in depth and list the variables in real time, how they come into play for me within the Fundamental Tattoo Handbook, which is now available on Amazon and Barnes & Nobles. Head on over to Amazon.com, type in Daniel Yuck or the Fundamental Tattoo Handbook, and you'll see it pop right on up. I will also leave my affiliate links for you in a pinned comment and in the description below. Here is the solution. So I'm still gonna stay with the same needle, same setup. This is gonna be a CNC Police 3-round liner. Sorry I didn't mention that sooner. An ink claw blade tattoo machine with the ink claw wireless power supply. So I'm going to take the 8 volts down to 5 volts even. So 5 volts, the needle's making less rounds per second, which means I'm able to layer up and brush the shades into a smooth gradient as opposed to try to deposit them similar to lining. So let's go ahead and demonstrate what accurate technique is. So this is what a better technique would look like. So I'm gonna start by following the shape of the petal here that I'm filling in, and then I'm going to be mindful. I'm gonna go ahead and apply the first lines like so. And you can see that each line is neighboring one another well. And then I'm gonna go ahead and do a little bit of cross hatching going this way so I can smooth it out. That's another way to smooth out shades. And each line I'm doing, it's gonna go ahead and kind of be close. And then if you pay attention to the dot spacing as well, that means that each whip motion that I am making is clean and consistent and resembling one another well. It has to be clean and consistent. They have to neighbor one another well in order to contribute to a smooth read. So here we have the first layer. So this is why brushing is important. You want to brush up to the gradient or to the level of saturation that you want to accomplish that smooth gradient. So I'm going to go ahead and literally repeat that again. So I'm going to go ahead and start back from over here. And then I'm going to go ahead and then brush while bringing it out further this way to start filling in more space. I could even go over it again if I'm looking for a certain level of saturation. Now this right here causes minimal trauma to the skin, whether it's fake skin and human skin, especially when it's executed correctly. You can hear that I'm brushing the shades into the skin, and you can see that I'm accomplishing a smooth transition. I'm going to go ahead and repeat back this way just like we did a moment ago. Every whip shade out, you can see where the shade comes in is where we whip out. So once we start whipping out, that is where that gradual fade comes from. And then I'm just going to do a little bit of cross hatching right here just to smooth it all out. And then from here I can go ahead and dab. I'm going to wipe away, and we should be getting a smooth, clean gradient now using these whip stipple pepper shades. As you can see, we're even getting a very, very nice texture. So aligning the fundamental variables is of the utmost importance when it comes to applying techniques correctly. You can see that if we're not focusing on that and we're just trying to get good results without actually thinking about how we're gonna do that, we're going to keep accomplishing these results right here as opposed to these over here. I'm going to annoy you by saying this again, but it is very important. There is no way around the process progress but through it, especially within the world of tattooing due to the permanency involved. This would get repeated for the other side exactly the same way that I did the other side. Since this is a mandala, we're going to be symmetrical. It'll be the exact same thing. So I would go ahead and start from up here, run it this way like so, whip shade out just like that, all the way. And I'm following the motions cleanly, brushing these motions, brushing the texture and dots in. And then I'm going to cross hatch this way, following the exact same structure that we did on the other side. So that way we get that sort of symmetrical read, but the technique would apply to any design even if it doesn't have symmetry. So that would still stand. You just want to make sure that you're aligning the variables before you're applying the technique. So make sure everything is aligned. Right here, we're almost done. I can go ahead and kind of just smooth this out right here. And that would be it. Now, I do hope that you can find value in this video, and if you did learn something, can you please go ahead and give this video a like, a thumbs up, as I would greatly appreciate the support and it does help my channel. Also consider subscribing, as I would greatly appreciate your support, and I am also going to be bringing more videos like this, as well as more tattooing workbooks that are designed to help us develop. I have talked quite a bit about my tattooing workbooks and books, but I haven't shown them to you. So before I close out the video, I want to take a moment to do so. This book right here is called The Fundamental Tattoo Handbook, and it is now available on Amazon.com and Barnes & Noble. If you head on over to either or, type in The Fundamental Tattoo Handbook and you will see it pop right on up. I'll also be leaving affiliate links for you in the description and in a pinned comment for you. Within The Fundamental Tattoo Handbook, we go over an array of different topics. We get more advanced as we go on. Disposable tattoo grips explained, understanding tattoo needle arrangement, what is a tattoo station, tattoo numbing creams, stabilizing trick for our lines, and I mean it goes on and on and on. You can kind of see right here all of the table of contents, and there's 3 different pages there, and within each one we do touch base in a beginner friendly manner on each one of those topics. And you can see that this book isn't by any means a small book. It is loaded with useful information that you can use to help you get better along your tattooing journey. Now, this one right here isn't a workbook necessarily as much as it is an educational book. However, if you're wanting something more hands-on, I do have an array of different books that can help you optimize your whip shading anytime, any place, in case you're ever unable to get to your practice tattoo setup. Some of those books range from the Floral Guide Volume 1 and 2, which are workbooks that are designed to help us get better with understanding how to apply shades, not using any lines. So you can see this right here was applied strictly using whip shades, a tattoo machine, and a ballpoint pen cartridge, and I did not break through the paper, which is a very good sign. You can see that I was able to layer up layers of shades, and the video for this is on my channel. You can see that I was able to accomplish layers of shades right into this tattoo workbook using a tattoo machine and a ballpoint pen cartridge. There's 2 different volumes of this workbook right here. I also have a workbook dedicated to learning how to do vehicles, and whip shades is going to be necessary to apply these exercises. Here you can see this was done using strictly whip shades, a ballpoint pen cartridge, and a tattoo machine. And this right here really pushed me to step outside my comfort zone, because this isn't something, or these designs right here aren't something that I'm familiar with. However, now I'm more comfortable with applying these sort of designs. And this extends to a bunch of different elements within composition, such as wildlife, as you can see. So there's a book about wildlife. We're going to be using whip shades to accomplish different textures within the wildlife book. You can see here's an exercise that was done, and this is a full page exercise. Again, done with a tattoo machine and a ballpoint pen cartridge. All of these are on my channel, so you can see the reviews for the books, and you can also see the practices being done. Now, if you're wanting something, I guess, less advanced and not so advanced, that's where these come in. The Tattoo Practice Companion Workbook is the book that has a bunch of different exercises, from lining, we do dot work, shading, everything that we would need in the earlier days. We can practice it within this book right here. And you can see that it comes with an assortment of various exercises, and all of the exercises do consist of lining, shading, dot work, packing, as I've mentioned, and they are going to go from a beginner to an intermediate to an advanced format. If you're wanting to get more hands-on with shading and kind of be guided This is called the shading journal, and within the shading journal you're going to see that it actually shows us how to go about shading and what directions we need. And this one is more hands-on for those who want a more educational approach and not a more free-range approach, because the other tattoo workbooks would require us to figure out which motions we feel comfortable with, while the shading journal kind of tells us and guides us which way we should be applying the shading to accomplish these smooth, clean results. The same thing is going to extend to the facial feature guide. The facial feature guide is, again, we're going to be using a lot of whip shading to accomplish facial features, and this one is great to teach us techniques such as textures like hair. You can see eyebrows as well, and eyes. All of these are areas that weren't really my strong suit, but they allowed me to step outside of my comfort zone to get familiar with what it would be like to apply this using a needle and ink. You can see right here I'm getting more comfortable with applying aging textures as well. So there's a bunch of benefits from using these assorted tattooing workbooks, and this one right here is one of my newest ones, Craniotomy. And within this book you can see that it is skull dedicated. So within this book we're going to be practicing skulls, and this is one of my newest ones. And you can see, once again, using a ballpoint pen cartridge and a tattoo machine, I'm able to step outside of my comfort zone and trust the process of applying whip shades and shapes to accomplish these designs right here. This right here, or these right here, are all available on my Amazon author page. If you head on over to Amazon.com, type in Daniel Yuck, click on my author page, look at all books, and you will see all of them pop right on up. You can also scan this QR code with your smartphone camera to navigate to the product page that has all of the books listed. Now from here, let me go ahead and wipe away, see what I'm working with. And right there is a good shade. So right here is a good base. I can go ahead and kind of just smooth things out a little bit more. I can also add dot work because this side has dot work, but the point of this video was to talk about whip shading. To make it clean like this, I would just go back, do maybe a layer or two of light dots, and I'm pretty much done. However, the point was proven. You can see that I now accomplished a smooth, clean gradient from one point to another using whip, stipple, pepper shades. That will be it for this one. I appreciate you watching. Thank you very much for your support. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop a comment down below. I'll do my absolute best to assist in the best possible direction. With that being said, I thank you very much yet again, and I hope you have a great day.